honey, so you can see what's going on. What's going on? Hey, what's going on? Tell me what's going on.
Going in the streets and shooting at one another, we was just rapping. You know what I mean? So after that, I kind of was like, okay, well, this makes sense. This fit. And I guess when I started to do it, I was like, oh, I'm all right at it too. You know, I can do this. So I was like, you know, it's kind of better, you know what I mean, for me, because I'm not, you know, in the streets doing whatever. We just, you know, keeping it on wax. And then, you know, from there, I kind of got off of the gang banging with that, you know what I'm saying, as far as having that in my music and just sort of like, you know, let me just tell the story of what's going on and, you know, the environment that I live in.
And how old were you when you got into the rap?
I think I was around 6. I think I was like 15, 16 years old when I first started rapping.
Okay, so so when you started out as with gangster rap?
Yeah, with gangster rap. Yeah, I would call it gangster rap when I first started off. Okay. Yeah, because we was talking about everything under the sun as far as gang stuff went.
Especially because the other side is not.
Yeah, because they said what they were saying, so we felt like we had to say something back. But again, you know, when I reflect on it today, it was a way to keep us out of the streets. We wouldn't, you know what I mean? It kept us in the studio, you know what I mean? We was working instead of being in the streets looking for the other dudes, you know what I mean? We was like, oh, we thought to make this rap too, you know, they made one about it. Okay, let us make one, you know. So it was a way for us to, you know, keep the drama down.
Yeah, and I know that's one of the things that I always say is that instead of telling our young people to what not to do, don't do this, don't do that. Show them the things that they can do.
Exactly.
You know, and be creative and constructive. You know, I mean, if you want to release that anger, kind of like what Stacey Butler said one time. You know, when I think there's some real stuff. You know, when Lincoln had Killers in the Set made that. He's dealing with them on that, and but he's telling the neighborhood because they really disrespect the neighborhood. Yeah, and he said, "Hey man, don't go shooting. You'll go and make another rap.
Go make another rap." You know what I'm saying? But it only makes sense. Because, you know, they didn't come over here and shoot at you. They made a rap about you.
Exactly.
So you make a rap about them. If that's what, I'm not saying, I'm not, you know, encouraging it, but I'm just saying, if you have to do something, do that. Because, you know, it's an outlet, a channel. Exactly. You know what I mean? You're doing something through art. You're beefing through art. Whatever. Cool. Do that instead of, you know, shooting back and forth. So, yeah, that's always a better outlook on it.
And that way you could do something positive. And you could do something that is an outlet that prevents you from getting out there causing real harm to somebody. And a lot of times people don't look at it like that. They just like, oh, you know, but you know, like we talked about before, you know, when they make these movies or anything else, it's all violent.
It's all the same thing. It's all a form of art, and then whatever your artistic values are, or whatever you want to do when you're creating your art, that's on you to do. That's on you to choose. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I can't fault people for making the type of music that make, because that's their artistry. That's what they want to do. So hey man, all you know what I'm saying, like I say, as long as you're not hurting nobody, hey man, do what you got to do, man.
Exactly. And that's something constructive that people can do.
Exactly. And to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. So who have you done collaborative music with?
Man, I work with some big guys. Freddie Gibbs, Glass Malone, a lot of the San Diego, you know. Local dudes. I work with a host of people, man.
Now on the national level, how did you connect with some of the guys that's maybe in the mainstream music industry?
A lot of people I was you know, dealing with before the situation happened, before the 182.5 situation came about, just from, you know, like I said, the music, it just took me from Southeast San Diego, stuck in the inner city, to across the world. You know, I've been everywhere.
And that was before.
And that was before that happened. So I say, rap isn't always a bad thing. Of course, you know, the district attorney and these other, you know, white supremacy people, they feel like they could demonize our culture based off of, you know, that because it does create channels and outlets for people to become billionaires and stuff like that. I mean, Dr. Dre is a billionaire. He's from Compton, California, the inner city. And from that, he took that and created, you know, from rap, he took rap and created $1 billion business. Like, it's like, look at that. So you can't take away from what we want to say or what we speak about. You know what I mean? That's what it can bring. So from rapping, starting off at 16, man, it took me around the world. I've been everywhere off of that before 182.5. But then nationally, when it became national as far as my name when the situation happened, because people don't like when you mess with freedom of speech. That's something that artists
stand
up.
Yeah, that could be me next.
Exactly,
so
that could be me
right
next.
in their bedroom.
Exactly.
If the argument would have started out far as with that 182.5 gang conspiracy,
right?
Oh, you're just locking up a bunch of young black men. Nobody would have cared.
Nobody would have cared.
But because you come in literally talking about the constitutional rights and so on.
Now you're dealing with their stuff.
Exactly.
So when you're dealing with their stuff and people that especially like with heavy metal, like a lot of heavy metal. I mean, all they talk about is like killing and stuff like that in heavy metal, killing parents and stuff like that. So you have people now. You got people that look like them.
Right.
You have Caucasian people standing up and saying, "Whoa, wait a minute! You're not gonna know. You can't do that because I can be in jail right now if you want to go there. If we're gonna look at it like that. So it's the Constitution, and you can't play with it, even though it was wrote kind of messed up. You think about some of the things in it, but hey. That one thing right there, hey man, it was for us.
That's for sure, man.
Exactly.
For sure.
Right.
Now, and we were talking. You kind of touched on it a little bit as far as how they criminalize what our culture and what we try to do. Everything they find in it, make a law on it, or some kind of way they want to demonize it. Do you think that law enforcement may have taken away a positive way for our youth to deal with violence by taking away the freedom of expression through rap music?
You know what? I really do, because a lot of the times, like when they say the photos, take the photos for instance, on the Facebook thing, and you can't. So now basically what you're saying is we can't be who we want to be. We can't express ourselves. If we express ourselves in the wrong way, I'm not going to call it the wrong way. I'm going to call it in a manner that they don't understand or get.
Right.
They could, send us to jail for it. You know what I mean? So I feel like, like you stopping, you could possibly cut off the next Prince or Michael Jackson from being him based off of your feelings or how you feel about something or your assumptions, because you feel like, oh, well, the stuff he's talking about in his rap, I want to send him to jail for. It's like, okay, well, you just probably stop the next, like Michael Jackson from becoming who he might be, he might be, because aspiring to who he might become because of how you feel about something. It's like, this is America. And in America, you have the right to purchase what you want to purchase. You have the right to listen to what you want to listen to. It's the land of the free. You don't have to go purchase that type of music if you don't like it.
Right.
Go buy something else.
Go somewhere else,
Go buy Billy Joel. Go, buy Johnny Cash.
Let me do my thing.
Let me do my thing, though. And even when Johnny Cash was out, and he talked about what he wanted to talk about, he said he was going to shoot a man dead in Reno. You guys don't criminalize him based off of him wanting to say he's going to shoot a man in Reno, because half of the jurors that come in, he looks like the jurors. So the jurors don't look at Johnny Cash the same way as they're going to look at the 14, 15-year-old black male.
That's right.
And he's talking about killing too. He's talking about the same exact things Johnny Cash was talking about, but because he's a 14, 15-year-old black male, 21-year-old black male, and he's talking about gang life, and the white juror doesn't understand gang life, but they understand Johnny Cash. They're going to say, before they say Johnny Cash committed, Johnny Cash was going to commit. They're not going to say that little black boy might have did that murder, though.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're going to be right back. We're going to come right back, and so stay tuned to what's happening now on KBLKradio.com, and we'll be back in a moment. We're going to take a break for a commercial.
They grabbed me. I was staying in Arizona. They grabbed me up. Took me to jail. Stayed in jail, I want to say 10 days that time, and then I end up overall beating the case.
Okay.
So I think it had a lot to do with that. I kind of felt like it was more one of those things. Like, we'll get you somehow, some way, because you knew I didn't have anything to do with this case, and you threw me on it anyway and said, "Hey, we just use his music," and said he's talking about or benefiting from these crimes that he knows nothing about. Which, how do you benefit from something that you don't even know happened or took place? So I kind of feel like it was more or less one of those things. Like, yeah, we'll get you. You know what I mean? So,
do they have, like, with the gang unit, and I know they have detectives and so on that work in certain cases, assigned to certain areas and so on. Did you encounter some of the same people back then when they arrested you in Arizona versus with this?
You know what? No, I didn't with this one, because I never, like I said, I never talked to any detectives. No detectives ever dealt with me as far as on either case. Only time I ever seen a detective was court proceedings.
Gotcha.
But when I first got locked up, you know what I'm saying, with this 182.5 case, I spoke with detectives then, told them I don't know what you guys are talking about, but other than that, they like, you know, usually when somebody is like investigating you for something, you know, they come knock on the door, leave a card, hey, we need to talk to you about this. That. I never experienced none of that, so I kind of think every time I got caught into something, it was one of those things to where like, oh, that's Brandon Duncan. He has no record. He ain't been in no trouble. We need to get him on something. We need to get him on some paperwork or something. Yeah. So I kind of think it was one of those things. Yeah.
And I agree with that. And cause I remember when I used to get bang and stuff. You know, I was in and out juvenile hall and all that. But as soon as I turned 18, they were determined to arrest me and put me in county jail, even though it was a bogus charge. That if I think after 3 days or whatever, it ended up dropped. They knew that before they even did that the witness did not want to testify anything against me, but they still locked me up just to lock me up.
Exactly, and that's what that's the thing about San Diego is I feel like they have a little bit more time than all the rest of the cities in the world because you know this type of stuff wouldn't take place in LA. This type of taste wouldn't take place in Oakland. You know, and Chicago and so on and so forth, because San Diego just had like, you know, a real grudge, I feel like, towards black males, like, and they go hard, black and Latino males, because they get it bad too.
Right, absolutely. And I think one of the other things also that I've noticed here in San Diego, what I hear from law enforcement is that they have these task forces where you have the sheriffs, probation, San Diego police, even some of the other law enforcement agencies like National City, Chula Vista, the DEA, the FBI, Homeland Security, U.S. Attorney's Office, DA's office, and so on. They El Cajon, they all collaborate and work together, and so on. And in their collaborations and working together, a lot of times, you know, like you said, they target the easy target. They target the folks that, like you talking about earlier, Johnny Cash.
You're not gonna target Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash has a little bit too much money, and you know
exactly. And he look like them.
And he look like them.
But we'll get a conviction on this.
Exactly. It's easier to get a conviction on that 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old black male than it is somebody that looks like the jurors, because obviously our people aren't going to the being jurors enough. Like that's what one thing I say is we need black people to start being police officers, DAs, judges. You know, and like, you know, we got this stigma around us, like, you ain't supposed to work for the law enforcement, or you shouldn't be no cop. Like, man,
we need it.
That's what we need. That's why we're in the situation we're in now, because our people aren't put in those positions of power. You know what I mean? Because we need more people in those positions of power. You know?
And be willing to challenge the system.
Exactly.
They get in there and they become just part of the system.
They become just part of the system. Exactly.
Policies.
Exactly.
So how did you get documented as a gang member, and when?
I believe they said in my what is it called, a GR report or something like that, that I got documented at the age of, I want to say like 14 or something like that. It was 18, even before I and it was from stops that occurred in front of either my grandmother's house, or my father's house, and those were my only stops. In front of my grandmother's house and my father's house, they documented. I'm at home. I'm at home because my family lives in the Lincoln Park community. Both my mother, my father, and my grandmother. They deemed it, you know, gang. Well, you're in a gang, you know, related area, so therefore you're with a dude that is from a gang. So hey, you're a gang member too.
Now, did you ever, like, back then, before you got documented, did you ever, like, when I banged, I mean, they didn't have that kind of documentation, but they did document you, but they didn't have the step act, and they didn't have cow grips and so on, but they had their own little thing of way of so they had documentation, but not like the way they do it today. But like when I was banging from the earliest days, you know, my teens and so on, I let them know straight up, hey, this is where I'm from. Did you ever do that, or were you like undercover, like, nah, man?
I've never ever told them that I was a Lincoln Park gang member. Never told them. They always ask you, you from over here? No, I'm not. I live right here, but I'm not a gang member. I've never admitted or told any of them that I was a Lincoln Park gang member. I never told them, but they just, you know, when, hey, you live here, you're wearing the colors, you know, you're hanging with the people, and that's enough for us. That's enough for us.
And that's and the messed up part about that is that once they do that, and you're talking about criminalization, you know, and this is one thing that we talked about, you know, in the past, is that when you look at a gang member or a gang, it's not against the law to be a gang member.
It's
you
not
know, but
against
yet
the
they
law.
criminalize you
For
by
being,
being. If you were to say, hey man, I'm from Lincoln Park, so okay, so what? So what? I mean, you know, am I breaking any laws? Am I doing anything wrong? You know, what am I doing? You know, yeah, maybe the gang. Some of the guys in gang has been involved in criminal activity, but that don't mean that I'm doing that.
Yeah, it's like 182.5. You know, the lynch code is basically saying guilt by association, and that's it. Period. Point blank. And that's it. Like say in a nutshell, because when you could try to hold somebody else accountable for another person's actions, and you know that person had absolutely nothing to do with that, there's something wrong in that.
Absolutely.
There's something wrong, and it speaks volumes to mass incarceration. You know what I mean? It speaks volumes. It lets you know that what their agenda is, and they're going above and beyond to make sure that they meet their agenda, or they meet their deadline, or whatever it is, because their quotas in the whole bit. Yeah.
So, what is your opinion about the way our young people are being documented today?
I think it's absolutely wrong, because you end up documenting people that don't know what's going on.
Right.
What's going on? Like I said, I don't know all the criteria off the top of my head, but I know that just being in a gang inhabited area is one. And come on, man. I could be from Texas and I could come see my family in San Diego, and just because I'm here, I end up being a Lincoln Park gang member. There was people on our case that had no ties to Lincoln Park whatsoever, but was documented after the fact of the case going on. Had no documentation, and his name was I forget his name.
One of
the was one of the brothers. There was only two. It was two sets of brothers. It was Frank. I forget his last name.
I think they connect to the Jenkins.
Right. That's it right there. Yeah. So basically, Frank didn't have no Lincoln Park anything at all.
Man.
No gang documentation, wasn't stopped, no pictures, no nothing. But
Facebook.
When not even the Facebook, and when they argued that, they said, "Oh, well, he's documented because of this. Stop now." Like, how do you, after the fact? So it's like, how do you do that? Yeah. So basically, in my eyes, the gang documentation means if you black, you live in the inner city, you can be documented. Those criteria are BS. I don't even think they apply to anything. I think they just write your name down. Once your name's written down, hey man, you're going to be documented.
And that's and I think that's where these laws, we have to work on changing these laws in the sense of how they document so that you can change. I know that as a juvenile now, they send this letter to you, and so that's a beginning process. But we really got to change the system to where that if I'm gonna be documented, number one, let me know.
There has to be some sort of due process.
Exactly.
There has to be some sort of due process, because that could affect the rest of my life. Exactly. I should be able to fight that in some form or fashion.
Exactly.
They don't give you no form of but probably you got Proposition 21, where it's like at 14 years old, if I have all these gang things on me, you mean I could be gone for the rest of my life based off of something, probably a dumb mistake? Because at 14 years old, come on, how smart are you?
Exactly.
How smart are you at 14? But
some of when I was like in my 20s, I still making dumb
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Like, come on, man. So how do you expect a 14-year-old child to make a grown-up decision?
Exactly.
It's not gonna happen, man.
That's the way they do it, though.
Exactly.
So I'm a former gang member, and I still have people that treat me a certain way because of that background. They might try to, you from the streets, you this, and treat you like you're inferior, and won't let you be a part of certain things because they think that you're over here. They kind of look at you like ghetto trash in a sense. Do you experience that?
I experience that on a daily basis.
Daily
basis, and I definitely experienced it with when I got out with these organizations put in place to help.
Right.
They kind of was like more geared towards Aaron, because Aaron's background was more clean than what mine was. Me and you both didn't have any records, but being just they named a gang member, rapper, has tattoos, father wasn't in the home, so they took that and was like, we kind of don't want to mess with him, and we'll mess with Aaron based off of the fact that, like I called it, the house nigga, the field nigga. You know what I'm saying? It kind of was like that. So I experienced stuff like that, especially with the, like say, the work we're doing. You kind of get the cold shoulder towards some people, like Brandon. They turn their shoulder at me to where Aaron are more loving. Oh yeah, come in, you're welcome. And me, it's like, when we're doing the same work.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Oh yeah. I experience it. I see that all the time, even on my level. You know, even when I came from the streets, you know, I came from the streets straight into church. Even in the church, I was people didn't understand me, know how to deal with me, and treated me a certain way, and so on. You know, and then when you kind of get in your little career fields and things like that, you know, if people don't know. They don't. Other than being black, that's how they treat you. But once they start finding out your background and where you come from and things like that, they kind of look at you a little bit different, which they shouldn't. And so there's a lot of setbacks. Even for, I mean, it's setbacks because you're black, but then there's setbacks because of your background and where you come from.
Exactly.
And it really shouldn't be that way. And, you know, you have a lot of classism right within our own community.
Right within your own community. I said it's like crazy. The people put in place to help the community are still judging the community. It's like, I thought you were here to help.
Exactly. You're looking down on me and think you're better. You're not better than me.
When you have an organization saying that they want to be a part of 182.5, yet they don't want to deal with gang members.
Exactly.
It's like,
how you gonna do that?
How are you gonna do that?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You need to rethink everything that you're doing if you want to be a part of helping 182.5 or preventing 182.5, but then you don't want to deal with gang members.
Right. Exactly.
You need to go. You need to go back to the books. Man.
Yep. And I know. Even when there's there've been homicides or shootings and young folks have been traumatized by it, and so you'll call out these folks for mental health, mental services, and you say, hey, you know, these kids they need counseling, they need help, and you bring these folks into the home, and then they see who they're dealing with. You know, oh no, they get intimidated, scared. Like it's, you know, these folks are human just like you.
Yes, they are.
You know, and the media way young black men are portrayed in the media and Hollywood and everywhere else, and the way people talk.
Yes.
That's why people have that outlook, and they really don't realize and understand that, you know, no matter what walk of life, when you're talking black brown kids, you can put them in gangs or whatever.
Right.
I can walk down the street 11 o'clock at night, walk through some guys that might be out there, and it's no problem.
It's no problem.
No problem. Hey, how y'all doing? Blah blah blah. You know, and everybody's cool with each other. You know, I don't feel intimidated or threatened by those kind of things. And I think it's because of kind of what you mentioned before. They don't understand and know us, and so when they come in, they have that perspective of what how the world look at things. Especially young black men, he's angry, he's violent, he's crazy.
What the movies depict, what the movies depicting is that. But again, that goes with the whole mass incarceration thing. They need to paint this picture that all black males that live in the inner city are thugs, ready to kill you on sight, ready to, so you know they can again keep their agenda going the way they need it to go.
And then make those laws.
We got to get these laws passed. You know, these people, come on, man. These scientists, these people are smart. So they sit back and, you know, and figure out these ways that they can, you know, what can we do to get Proposition 21 passed? We need to make gang members look like they're put out the worst gang movies we could put out. Let's keep this thing rolling, because we have to have white America terrified of black males.
Exactly.
And that's what they're doing.
That's what they have done.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then when it comes to passing laws, it go by smoothly. And like right now, one of the things I see is with sex trafficking, tying it into gang crimes, the narrative that they try to frame in the media, and so I think, you know, a lot of us got to become more proactive in this, because what I do, I write letters to the editors of the news stations. I do everything to let them know, hey man, y'all got this wrong, and this is the way it should be. That's what you try to frame the narrative that way, but you know, we got to switch this up, because you know, you can't criminalize our community like that.
Exactly.
And then once you document it as a gang member, then you tie it into sex trafficking. Your friend might be a pimp over here, somebody you know, cousin, whoever. But now when they arrest them, they're arresting you too. You know, oh, you took them, dropped them off at a hotel one day. You know, well,
I gave a man a ride. I gave the man a ride. Like, so I can't even, because again, I live in this community and I know this person and this person. I can't even give a person a ride. Exactly. But it's like it's like this. Like they said in our while we were going through our case, and I know you were there, that there are no white gangs in the city of San Diego.
That's right.
There are no white gangs in the city of San Diego. Why? Because white people don't fall under the, you know, all those documentation laws and the Step Act. They don't fall under that. They're hate groups. Wait a minute, they have colors. You know, they have colors, they have signs, they have all this, but yet they're not a gang. You label them something else. So it goes to show you what's going on, what's really going on. Yeah.
Even with the some of the outlaw motorcycle gangs and stuff, you know, they don't even fall under.
They're hate groups. groups.
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
not gangs.
Exactly.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
that's what they said. And I remember this was back in the 90s. I was going to City College taking some classes, and one of the classes, it was a black professor. That's one of the things he was talking about. We was talking about gangs, and he was saying, well, there's no white gangs, and that was the first time I heard something like that.
There's no white gangs.
I said, wait a minute. He said,
What do you mean?
no, those are the racists. They identify them in another way. They don't call them gangs.
Because they don't want them to fall into the step back. They don't want them to fall into the step back because, we don't want to send white people to jail.
Exactly.
They send white people to jail when they have to.
Right.
When they have to, I mean, you're cooking up this dope and you're doing that, so we're going to send you then, but, we don't want to send you, Yeah.
Now, can you tell us about your experience of being incarcerated? Even going through the preliminary trial and your release. What has been your experience? Because I know that has to be rough, especially when you're done.
Man, first of all, free LaRon Johnson. I want to say that. I want to say that first and foremost, and then I want to say the way they have this jail, the whole process set up is like a big intimidation station. Like the whole thing is set up to intimidate you and beat you down in the worst way possible.
Wow.
They wake you up at 3 a.m. to eat breakfast. You up at 3 in the morning to eat breakfast.
Man.
You know what I mean? When you gotta go to court, you up earlier than 3 a.m. So you're up at 2 a.m. to sit in you're not leaving to go to court. You're not leaving to go to court. You're sitting in you go from one cell to the next at 3 in the morning to have to be somewhere at 9.
Wow.
So you're up at 3 in the morning. So it's like constant pressure every day. The living conditions are horrendous. Having to wear someone else's underwear. It's nasty. You know what I mean? We don't know what this person does or what that, but you're constantly wearing somebody else's clothes. So the conditions that they have you in are so messed up that you honestly hear people like when I was there the whole time, you hear people like, man, I can't wait to get to prison. I can't wait to get to prison. Prison is like this. You live like this. You live like this. You get to go out. You get to see the sun. As to county jail, it's terrible.
Yeah.
You don't get to see the sun. You got to stay here. The phone time is crazy. Just being able to call your people. One phone call to your people, a 30-minute phone call to your people might cost you $10. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard. The conditions are just. It's like I said, it's horrendous. Man, even thinking about it, it just makes me feel some type of way because, you got people like LaRon Johnson, and I'm hearing he just took a deal.
That's what I heard too.
A 14-year deal, man, for taking a picture or for being in a picture, and it just
got discouraged.
I went and seen him recently, and the look on his face was just a look of when somebody is just done. It's like I give up. Like I'm tapped out. I don't want to spend the rest of my life in here.
When you think about it,
so it's like, man. So I told him, I said, man, just hang in there. We fighting with you, man. We got good lawyers coming in and everything. And he was just like, man,
I don't know, man.
I can't do it. I don't think I could. I risk getting 25 years of life for taking a picture. And I'm like, you about to go do 14 years though, man, for taking a picture.
And they make it work. And it seemed like from what you're saying, and it kind of triggers something because back in the 80s when I used to go in there, I'd never been to prison, but I've been to the county and all the various places in county jail and fire camps and all those kind of things. But I remember that being locked up with some guys, and I remember vaguely right before when I got out the last time I got in church, but there was a gentleman that I was locked up with, and that's one of the things he was saying. It's like, man, I can't wait to go to prison.
I can't wait to go to prison.
And that and that and that. He didn't even want to go to fire game. He was like, nah,
I want to go to prison.
That's what he was saying. That's how I remember that.
That's how bad the county jails are.
Yeah.
It makes you. It's like the way they have it built. It's designed to make you want to give up. Like it's designed to make you want to take that deal because you just want to get out of there so bad that you're like, man, whatever. I tap out. I just send me to prison.
You win.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And my brother LaRon Johnson, you know what I'm saying?
Was he the last one for the?
Well, it's other people, but they charged with something else. 182.5. Nobody's left on 182.5. The 182.5 is done all the way.
Okay.
All the people are either out or took deals on it.
Gotcha.
But they charged that he was there for 182.5 at first, and then they charged him with 182. I don't want to say what it is or something like that.
Just a conspiracy.
Yeah, they just charged him with just the conspiracy. So he ended up, being stuck in, when I was in there with him, he was thrilled. He was like, man, we going home. When he seen how our case was going, he was like, man, we going home. And then they was like, okay, well, we just gonna flip this and do you like that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's
14 years just for that.
14 years with half, man.
And that's the other thing, these severe penalties. I've seen people. This is like maybe a couple years ago. It was a white guy that had like 8 felonies. Could have been more, 8 or 9 felonies. You're saying that he pleaded to all of them and still was set free. I think he frauded some people, whatever, and they still let him go. And they say, oh, he'd be better out on the street because he can, get the money, pay these people back.
Exactly.
8 to 9 felonies. Don't you get no felonies like that?
Don't you go in there being black with 8 or 9 felonies, because they're gonna make sure you get the harshest, most severe punishment possible. You know what I mean? It's just wrong, man. But we know what it is, though. We know what it is.
I remember watching the detectives when they got up and testified some things they said, and seeing you guys' face when they make a statement like this. Oh man, come on, man.
You serious? Like more than anything, it hurt because not only did they come in there telling a bunch of lies, and they know they lying. Yeah. But then he come in there and antagonizing. It's like, okay, so basically we're in there, and their whole case is what colors you had on and stuff you talked about at rap and who you hung with. So he would come in there, one of the detectives would come in there, Rudy Castro, he would come in there. Every time he came, he would make sure he wore a Lincoln lantern. Wow. So he would have the thing on. He would have the thing on. If you notice, nobody noticed
paid attention to that.
He would have a lantern on his neck, and it said Lincoln on it.
Wow.
Like, Castro, you didn't go to Lincoln. You didn't go to that high school. So what are you doing? Like, so basically, you're poking fun at the situation. You know what I'm saying? Ha, that's what you guys get. When, hey, man, Castro, I don't know what everybody else do, man, and I don't know what people do, but I haven't done any of these crimes.
Exactly.
Man. You know what I mean? Exactly. While you guys are on TV saying I'm incapable of change, it's like I'm incapable of change. Well, I don't have a record. Why would I want to change?
Right. What you want me to go worse?
Why would I want to change? Exactly. So so they try to get us gone like from public opinion. They try to crucify us in the media. You know what I mean, beforehand. So it's man, like I said, it's horrible. It's horrible, man. Horrible process, horrible tactics, and what they're doing is just. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong.
And the judge played mind games on you too. Oh, he didn't drop charge, then he switched the rule at the break.
He dropped. That's what that does. Notice every time that this decision was almost swayed our way and things started going our way, they would recess. Yeah. Every time, and then every time he would come back. Oh, never mind. Forget I said that. He had voted basically voted and said he dropped on Justin Anderson. Yeah. He dropped every 182.5 on Justin Anderson. And this is in the beginning. He dropped every 182.5 to where my attorney turned around and told me, man, you going home today.
We was out in the home.
Yeah, you're going home today. They're going home. It's over, man. This is it. They're coming home. So we getting ourselves ready to come home. Yeah. The second he did all that, they went back. The district attorney, I felt like the district attorney went back and said, hey, if you do this, you're finna set everybody free. And he came back and he changed his mind and said, no. Yep. How do you do that? And they said, my attorney said, for the years I've been doing this, I've never seen that done before in my life.
I thought that had to be illegal or something for
exactly. You had already done it. You overturned it already. But then when he had a change of heart 5 months later, he couldn't change that then. So I'm like, how do you do it now? But you can't do it, you did it then. So it was
exactly.
Yeah, but like my attorney said, I've never seen nothing like this ever in my life. I've never seen it. So I felt like, it was a thing. It was like they had an agenda. They wanted to push this thing through, and they had the judges. They had the judges' wishes. Like, okay, yeah, I'll help you guys push it through. But then when the media attention hit, I think they started to get cold feet because now you got other judges, other places looking at you like, hey man, what are you guys down there doing?
Exactly. Exactly.
He didn't want to have his name on that yet.
And that's one of the things that I want to say is that's very important for the media to get involved.
Yeah,
and so
very important.
Media to get involved or what have you. Now, one of the things I did want to ask you was what is your opinion about this criminal justice? I know you gave some, as far as the jails and things like that, but what is your opinion about that?
About this, as far as criminal justice?
Criminal justice system, as far as the way it's set up, against the black man.
Again, I have to keep referring back to this because, mass incarceration, and they have an agenda. Everything's to meet their quota. They need black people in jails to run the jails because, you know, like I say, to be slaves. You know what I'm saying? They need us in there to work so they can get paid, and I think that's what it's all about. It's about money, nothing else.
Now, when you got out, you kind of like the moment you got out, you just launched right into the limelight. You know, I saw you on CNN and so on. What was your experience like that? Being launched like that. I mean, was that like was that something that was working good for you? Did it make you feel good, redeeming yourself, or did you feel like you were still like, you know, kind of caught up in a system that was working against you?
Yeah, it was was draining, I could say. It was most definitely draining, but I felt like it was almost like my fate, you know what I mean? Like it was my destiny to do that. Because I felt like God first of all, he doesn't make mistakes.
Right.
And I felt like he was working, he was at work, and this is what he wanted me to do. Because the whole time I was in there, I would just say, God, like, whatever, I don't know what's going on, but whatever is going on, I'm ready to do whatever you need me to do. And then when I got out, and then it's like, okay, well, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. It was just like, all right, cool. Yeah, let's just get it done. If it's to try to get those brothers out of jail, that's what I'm gonna do. So before anything, even my attorney, you know, he didn't like he wasn't telling me, hey, say this. I was the first person to bring up the fact that 33 black individuals were in jail based off of no evidence, no nothing, based off of guilt by association. So on national television, and he kind of looked at me like, "Well, did you just say that?" I said, "Yeah, it's some racism going on, you know." And I felt strongly about that, and I felt like, you know, I was going to do my part, and, you know, trying to make, you know what I mean, this thing get as much light as possible, you know.
Yeah, man. Because I know I saw you on CNN and some other stations. I know you was getting a lot of interviews in a lot of different places. Did you get was there any type of negative type feedback?
I mean, I didn't. You know what? I didn't see a lot. I didn't get a lot of negative feedback. I got it was mostly love from everybody. Okay, you know what I mean? And again, I didn't take the situation, which everybody was expecting me to do. Take the situation and say, "Oh, I'm about to go run and try to get me this big record deal, or I'm about to start pushing rap and all that." So everybody's like, "Man, why you not talking about your music?" Because I was like, you know, it's not about the music at this point. Yeah, they brought me in here for music,
now.
But right now it's justice. I'm not worried about rap or making no money off rap. I'm worried about doing what God intended me to do. Not worried about, man, this big old record deal. No, that's not on my mind. So my mind is getting the rest of these brothers, you know what I'm saying, out of jail and stopping, you know what I mean, this this with assassination on, you know what I'm saying, our characters, you know what I mean, across the globe, man. Like, what we need to do, you know, stand up for ourselves, and if we don't stand up for ourselves, who else is?
So when it comes to justice and equal treatment under the law, where do we begin to change this system, whether it's statewide, countywide, citywide, or whatever? How do we combat that?
Man, I feel like these judges and these district attorneys need to be more educated on who we are as a people.
I agree.
I think they need to be more educated. I feel like they need to be taking classes with gang members. You know what I mean? If my attorney said something that kind of had me like, you know, it had me thinking. I feel like if you are put in a position of power where you could put somebody in jail for the rest of their life, before you get that power, you should have to spend a week in jail. So you can know and you can feel what it's like before you just say, I'm gonna send you here for the rest of your life, when they don't know what it's like, right or wrong. So I would think if they would have to go through something like that, it would make their minds be more like precise on what's going on. They would think harder before saying guilty. You know, I think they would do way, 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 way better like that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it needs to be more training when it comes to black people. When it comes to Chicano people. Culture. You need to understand the street and the culture before you just demonize their, you know, our culture. You need to understand who we are, because like I said, Killer Mike's amicus brief that he wrote for the Supreme Court was crazy.
He wrote a brief?
He wrote you got to check that out. He wrote a brief for so something happened with a student, I forget. I think his name was a student in Texas. He was at a school. A PE teacher, I want to say it was, or something, was doing like lewd things to girls, like touching the little girls or something, and the girls came back and told him about it, and instead of going to go, you know, tell the teachers, going to go tell the principals, he made a song, and in the song he depicted his his feelings. He said how he felt, and he felt it was wrong, and he wanted to do this, but he was being artistic. You know what I'm saying? He was expressing himself through his art, and in his songs, you know, he was just basically talking about, you know, if I would shoot you and whoop. If it was me, if I wanted to do this is what I want to do to you. You're wrong, and because of that, the Supreme Court, he had got kicked out of school, and the Supreme Court came in and just moved his school or whatever. And because of that, you know, Killer Mike and a host of other rappers, big name rappers, stood up, and Killer Mike wrote this amicus brief about music and our culture and what we mean, and when we're saying stuff, you guys don't understand it. You know, you guys don't understand when I might be saying one word but meaning a different word. You know, it's the wittiness and the stuff that I'm talking about in my music. Like you guys don't understand rap. So how can you criminalize something you don't understand? So it was, man. It's like I gotta. Everybody needs to read it. I feel like everybody needs to read. I feel like every judge, every attorney, every anything.
Where can we get access to that?
You know what? They sent it to me. I think you could. Matter of fact, I think you could just Google it. You could just Google it. Killer Mike's Supreme Court brief. Okay. So Google that, look it up, man. It's like one of the best things I've read to date. You know what I mean? Because it touched on so many topics. So when I was in jail and the things that I was thinking and everything, I felt like, why is Eminem able to say this and I'm not? He touched on everything I was thinking about while I was in there in that brief. Yeah,
and
so
when you just look at his name, it says a lot, because I saw him. He was on TV one time, and like when you think Killer Mike, oh, you killing people. He said he was singing, rapping, or something. Said they said, oh, he killed it. He killed it.
He was rapping. He was in a rap battle. They asked him to spit a verse, so he spit a verse, and the verse he felt was so dope that one of the people there was like, man, you killed that. And he said ever since he would go back to school, he went back to school the next day, and everybody called him Killer Mike. See, but now the district attorney, you know, or the judge would look at that totally different. Oh, his name is Killer Mike. What does that say? It's basically like
and then the detective would say, oh, because he's a killer.
Because he's a killer. Exactly. And it was I forget our district attorney's name.
Bonnie DeMets?
Not Bonnie, the other one, the one that was the working
whatever his name was.
Campagna. So Campagna said about my album, and it goes, it's the same thing. He said, well, it's not. They asked, so what's wrong with the album? Well, it's not an album full of love songs. I can tell you that much. Like, what is it?
It's not that genre.
Yeah, it's not that genre. Exactly. You know, but there is stuff about love on there, though. So, which tells me that you haven't listened to the whole song. You know what I'm saying? So,
and he admitted that he didn't listen to the whole album.
They listened to one song. They listened to the first song on the album, and that was it. But want to give me life over this album, but you've only listened to one song on the entire album that you want to give me life for.
Man, yep. And that's the messed up part about the system. Right. And we can see what our young people are facing today when we talk about the criminalization of our youth. Exactly. And it starts right. It starts right there, man. It starts right there with what's happening with our young people today. They have it a lot harder than I had, and you have it a lot harder than I had. Now they have it a lot harder than you have it.
Exactly.
Because they just the way these laws and so on is going is totally ridiculous. So what social racial justice movements you're a part of today?
I'm a part of again, Justice for SD 33. That was started because of our situation.
Will that end once the last person's case is handled? Or,
no.
So what is the future?
It'll never end. We push it, man.
Okay.
When we said that, that was just the name we gave to it. It was just the name we gave to it. For the movement. The mission is, you know, again, bringing light to all social justice. You know what I'm saying? So all social justice issues. And like I said, big or small, trolley ticket. We're not having it. If you're gonna give me a trolley ticket based off of the color that I am, I have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Own up
fighting against the system.
Exactly. Own up to judicial corruption. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people being killed in the streets, brothers being killed by police in the streets, but it's even more brothers being killed, you know what I'm saying, in the courtrooms than ever. You know what I mean?
Thousands compared to
exactly.
That's being killed.
I said we don't stand up as a people on those issues. We wait for somebody to get killed, you know what I'm saying, in the streets by a police officer, but we're not standing up to these judges and these district attorneys that's giving people life for cases that they know, you know what I'm saying, that this person didn't do, but they don't care. Even in they go on record in courtrooms and say they know he didn't do it, but we don't care. He's black, he's from the inner city, and we feel like he should be in jail.
And they don't, and like you was talking earlier about them getting trained, because I know when I was sitting in a trial with one gentleman, and the judge made a statement because part of his case was he had a gun, and he was a felon, of course. But what the judge didn't understand is that, you know, well, what you doing with a gun? Don't understand living in our community.
Yeah, what are you doing with a gun?
Yeah. I mean, what do everybody?
What do you mean? What am I doing with a gun?
And they don't understand that. Yeah, they don't understand that. They need to understand those kind of things. They need to understand.
So again, they need, like, I feel like they need to be sitting in rooms. If you're in that position of power, you need to sit in a room with a gang member and feel that. You know what I mean? So you will know what's going on.
All right, we're going to go ahead and close. You have anything else you want to add?
Man, again, free LeRon Johnson. Free LeRon Johnson. Free LeRon Johnson, man. And, you know, justice for SD33. And listen, we power to the people, man.
Amen. And I'm a part of that movement also.
Yes, sir.
Just for SD33.
Yes, sir.
I'm a part of that
RTC,
too.
RTC. So, yeah, we out here reclaiming the community, man.
So I want to thank you, Mr. Brandon Duncan, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Pastor. It's always an honor to be here.
And we're going to have more discussion on it, too.
Yes, sir.
And I'd like to encourage all my listeners to come by and visit our church, Charity Apostolic Church, 610 South 30th Street on Saturdays at 11:30. So come on by and see us. Thank you for listening, and tune in next week for another great show on What's Happening Now with your host, Bishop Bowser, on KBLKRadio.com. And may Yahweh bless you.
Yeah, trust in the Lord with all your heart.
That's right.
To your own understanding, is always acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path.
I know that's right.